all the biodiversity we have, the amount of plants, whether it's medicinal plants or other plants, they're all found there, and all these native species need to be protected. And the devrais or the small patches of land were preserved very well by the communities in the past. Unfortunately, we are stepping away from our roots, from our traditions and from our culture, and we're moving to urban areas and we're losing connection with nature. And that's how a lot of deforestation is happening. Highways are being built to or close to these what we call devrais or sacred groves, and they're being threatened. Okay, but they're really, really important. If we need to exist, okay, there's something called One Health that is now a global approach to conservation. It's called One Health. And if we need to be healthy, even if we are very, very selfish creatures, if we are selfish and think only about ourselves, but if we need to exist and we need to be healthy, we need our cattle, our pets to be healthy, we need our trees to be healthy, we need our ecosystem to be healthy, we need our wildlife to be healthy. Only if all of us are healthy, all the living organisms that we share space with are healthy, then can our health be, promise to be good. So we need to conserve wildlife. Now, even if we are moving out from the traditional and cultural practices, we can still learn to coexist with wildlife in whatever way we can. Now, Goa also has very beautiful waterfalls that you all probably know, and all these things are because of the sacred groves that have been protected by our ancestors, by the communities themselves, right? So it's sad whenever I take people to see the forest and witness what happens in the wild. It's sad to see so much of trash left behind. The least we can do is take the garbage that we leave and take it back home with us, right? Now we're talking about coexisting. Okay, for example, this picture is just taken right down the road. Okay, at this creek which comes from Taligaon fields into the river, Manduvi River, which goes to the sea. Now, if you can see, there are a couple of animals there down. I don't know, I can't interact with you all, but those are smooth-coated otters. Now, these otters are supposed to be bioindicators of freshwater ecosystems. Now, if you see that creek, it's full of sewage. It is black, it stinks because of all the waste from the city going into this creek. It's full of mosquitoes. It's just sewage. But these otters are still striving and surviving there. The least we can do is give them a proper habitat. Now, for example, if you ask me, what is the use of these otters? Just a simple use I'll give you. Like all our water bodies in Goa, now we have this African catfish, which is an invasive species. These African catfish destroy all the marine fauna. Okay, and there is no way we, whether the locals or the forest department, can control the population of the African catfish. The only animals rather that can control the population of the African catfish are the smooth-coated otters and the mother crocodiles. All right. Now, for example, this place is the only place where these otters can build their dens, because this is right at the start in Taligaon fields. Okay, that's where it starts, and that's the only place the otters can build their dens and have their babies in these dens. All the rest of the part, besides the sewage and the trash that goes into it, we have retaining walls. Now, in the retaining walls, like when this field gets flooded in the monsoons, the otters have no dens to stay in. They can't stay in anywhere. They are literally staying in the drains, the sewage drains. Okay, but they're still trying to share space with us. The least we can do is, give them a clean place. Although we are taking up most of the space, give them some space, but some space which is healthy for them. Yeah. Now, to coexist, it's very easy to say we need to coexist, but there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind. Okay. One is empathy. The second is the fear and knowledge. Okay. So if we fear something, we can't coexist with it. And fear is the lack of knowledge. If we have knowledge about something, then we can remove the fear, the unwanted fear. Alright? So, and we can have knowledge only if we have exposure to those creatures. Yeah, so fear, knowledge, and empathy. Empathy is very, very important. Okay, we need to learn to empathize with them. So I keep telling people that, if trees could shout and scream and cry when they were being cut, maybe we will not cut trees. But it does not mean trees do not feel pain because they don't have a nervous system and we call them non-sentient beings. They also can feel pain. There are a lot of studies show that trees can feel pain, they can protect, they want to protect their young ones. They do protect their young ones. Okay, if there's a tree which is sick, they start helping the tree to survive. But they don't respond to pain the way we do. It does not mean that they do not feel pain. So we need to empathize with all living creatures. So if I talk a little bit about fear now, they say that the reason you say this image is a sad image is because you can see tears in the eyes of the monkey. It's trapped in a net, it's a small baby monkey. And you can see reaching out its hand to me. Okay, that's the reason it looks like a sad image. But we can empathize with the monkey because the monkey is a primate like us. It responds to pain the way we do. But if this was a snake or anything else, give it space, let it be. Do not, if you want to take a photo of it, take a photo of it, document it that you have these animals around you. Do not catch the snake or catch the monkey or whatever it is, kiss it or do all that nonsense. Let them be as they are. Observe them from a distance and count your blessings. If you have these around, it's amazing. Okay, when I talk about knowledge, a little bit about knowledge about things that we see especially. You don't need to learn how to identify all the snakes or all the birds around you. A little bit about their behavior, like why the cobra raises its hood. The cobra raises its hood not because it's angry, it's because it's scared, it wants to look bigger, it wants you to see it. Why does the Russell viper hiss? A lot of people say the Russell viper is the most aggressive snake. Okay, we take the word aggression out and replace it with defense. The Russell viper is a very scared snake. That's the reason it's crying out when it's scared. Okay, it's hissing a lot because it's very scared. It's biting a lot because it's very scared. Okay, we can change our perception about these animals that we fear. So having a little bit knowledge about these creatures helps us to live with them. Okay, talking about knowledge, I'll skip this video. Or maybe I'll just play it. It's a little bit about first aid, what you do for snake bites. Okay, I think it's important.
Only a fraction of these result in death. If you follow these do's and don'ts, you could save your life.
Like sometimes we find eggs in our garden. Okay, they could be lizard eggs, they could be eggs of. I mean, if you're staying in a riverside, it could be a crocodile's egg. Like this, in this case, the dogs went and they dug up the mother's nest, and we had to rescue the eggs. Sometimes we find eggs, but the best thing to do is when you find eggs, let them be where they are. If they are under some leaves or under some growth, just put the leaves back over it, put the mud back over it. Let them be for a couple of weeks till they hatch and they go out on their own. But in some cases, like building a building and the place is being dug out and then you get the eggs, you need to hand them over to the forest department. But ideally let them be where they are. I'll just give you a few examples. You can see the orange juice box at the side. When I was a kid, when I was like 7-8 years, this bird's nest got spoiled because of the monsoon and the chick fell down. Now many people say that if you touch the chick, the parents won't come back to it. That's not true. So a little bit of knowledge is important. What I did is I took the nesting material, put it in this fruit juice box, hung it on a clothesline, and then the parents came and fed the bird, and sooner or later the bird will fly away. So reuniting them with the parents is the most important thing. Just because it's a cute, colorful bird or because it's a cute, cuddly, soft civet, don't take it home and think you've rescued it. Try to reunite it back with the parents, okay? Because we can't, no matter, I could raise so many civets or birds in my life, but if I raise them to adulthood, it does not save them or it does not mean that I've rescued them. When I keep them back in the wild, I have not really taught them what the wild would have taught them. Okay, and their instincts are weak. Although they are adults now, once they are back in the wild, most probably they will die. So reuniting them with their parents is very, very important. If you find young ones, okay, fostering is not something that you should do unless you're authorized to do it, but hand it over to the forest department if really required. Now, when is rescue really required? This rescue thing is the most misconceived term. If there is a snake on a tree, it does not need rescue. If there is a snake in your garden, it does not need rescue. If there is a snake in a well, it needs rescue. If it's stuck in a net, it needs rescue. If a snake is in your house, the snake does not need rescue. Maybe the people need rescue, right? So we need to know when rescue is really required and what is required of a rescue. Okay? So these are some examples. Okay, there's an owl that was hanging over a river in the sun. It was stuck on a fishing line that was left there. So that owl would have died, so needed rescue. A cobra stuck in tar at the side of the road, it needed rescue. And something of pangolin. Goa has pangolins, okay? They're one of the most endangered creatures in the world. We have them in winters in Goa. So that was stuck in the net. So these are cases where you need rescue. But most times you don't need rescue. You don't need to catch an animal and relocate it. Relocation is very bad and relocation increases conflict. We had so many, our ancestors again, when we talk about sacred groups, our ancestors used to believe in things like Zages or Soro. It had a lot of crucial meaning to it. And that's the reason they people. So when people complain to the forest department saying that there is a leopard, I saw it. No, these animals are meant to share our space. We need to share space with them. Alright? So just because people keep telling me that leopard numbers have increased, there is no documentation to show leopard numbers have increased or crocodile numbers have increased. sightings have increased. We all have cameras on our mobile phones. We take a picture, we post it on social media. I might have seen it, but now 1,000 people believe that they have seen the crocodile or they have seen the leopard. And for example, in the last 5-10 years, now everyone has CCTV cameras outside the house. Earlier, dogs used to bark in the night. People used to get scared, lock their doors, and stay inside, thinking there's a thief outside. Now dogs bark outside in the night. In the morning, they'll check their CCTV camera, their footage, and they'll see the dogs were barking because there was a leopard. So now they know there is a leopard. Earlier, they did not know. Okay, then they will insist the forest department comes and relocates the animal. Now the leopard has not done no harm. We don't have man-eating leopards or leopards that attack human beings in Goa, not yet. But if we keep insisting that the forest department relocates leopards here and there across the state, we will start creating conflict. And how? Once a leopard is caught, it is trapped, it is traumatized, it gets hurt, then you relocate the animal. Now this animal is really scared of human beings. So the next time this animal comes back home, we all know that leopards are very scared of now because he associates being in a cage and being injured with, he will attack those human beings. Okay, so we don't have attacks in Goa yet about whether it's masked crocodiles or leopards, but we could reach that stage if we keep insisting that the forest department relocates animals across the state. Forest department will be there to help the people. They will do whatever the people want them to do. Okay, but we need to understand that we need to learn to live with these animals rather than having them relocated. Because that's what our ancestors used to do. Nobody in the past used to relocate wildlife. It's only happening now more and more. Alright, anyway, this is another small video. I won't play the whole thing. But this was a cobra again stuck in the tar. And then, if you see, it was crossing the road, it was stuck in the tar went in its nose and its mouth, it covered its eyes, it could not breathe. So they brought it to me in my office. I was working in Verna, and they said, could you help it? And then I tried. I got with whatever limited equipment I had. I just got some coconut oil. I first opened its mouth, made sure that I could put a stick in the mouth, so it could breathe, then cleanse its eyes and all that stuff. It took me around 15 hours to do that. Okay, so I had to soak it in oil, and then in the end of it, it was a full treatment. That entire process took around 26 hours. At the end of it, the cobra recovered and was fine. And many people ask me that, why did you risk your life doing that? Why did you risk your life saving that cobra? Because I was working very close to the fangs. I could have been bitten, I could have got hurt. The thing is that by saving that cobra, I did not save the ecosystem, I did not save the snake species. Cobras won't go extinct. Okay? It doesn't make any difference on the big picture. But it makes a big difference to the snake's life. It means the world to that snake. So I could put myself in that situation. If I was in that situation, I would want someone to do the same for me. Okay, and that's where empathy comes into play. Yeah. So this cobra was back in the wild after that, and it did pretty well. This small story that I want to tell you, like a lot of people, they see a turtle crossing the road, and they will take it and put it in their well. Okay. That does not help or solve any problems. What did the turtle want to do when it was crossing the road? It wanted to cross the road. So just stop the vehicles, allow the turtle to cross the road. Don't take it home and think that you have rescued it. Don't put it in a well. They're not good for wells, and a well is not an ecosystem for them. Don't relocate the turtle. If a turtle wants to cross the road, help it cross the road, That's the best way. In this case, for example, somebody, he stays in between fields and he has a small resort. And he should always see turtles crossing the road. So he kept on collecting them, thinking he's relocating, he's rescuing them, and kept them in a tank. He had around some 35, 40 turtles with him. So that's not rescue. Okay? Let them be where they are. And if an animal can escape, me being a so-called rescuer, to be fair, that 90% of my rescues in the last 25 years are not rescues, they're relocations, which is what I'm talking against. Okay? But if somebody calls me and tells me that the animal has escaped and gone back to, and they can't see it anymore, that's the best case scenario. If an animal can escape, if you can allow it to escape, that's the best thing. If it's in your house, open your doors, open your windows, allow the animal to go back to the wild, where it belongs. Okay, and that's the best way to handle the situation. You don't need to move it. I'll just talk about bees a little bit. For example, a lot of, again, like the owls, bees need huge trees with huge branches to build their hives, to withstand the wind and the breeze and the rain. So now those trees are not very easy to find, and we know why. So now they build these hives on bridges, on buildings, outside your window. And then people will again call me, saying there's a beehive outside. And I said, why do you want me to remove it? They say, no, in the night bees come inside, they fly around the light, and the bee gets tired and falls down. The child will stamp it and it's stung. And then the child will have a little pain. What happens to the bee? The bee dies. Okay? So the solution to this is not removing the hive. The solution to this is as simple as closing your windows before you put on your lights in the evening at home. Close your windows so that the bees can't come in towards the light and you won't have this problem. or put a net, put a mosquito net on the window. You don't have to relocate the hive. Many people say that they can relocate the hive without killing the bees. Yes, you can smoke out the bees. I also do it in certain extreme conditions. You smoke out the bees. The adult bees survive in front of us, but who knows if the colony breaks and they die later on. All the babies, the eggs, the young ones, they definitely die. So that's not rescue by moving beehives. Let them be. They're trying to be with us, and we know the importance of bees for sure. By getting a little aware of things around us. Let's successful. When I was releasing the bird, I was really sad. And I said that I know this bird is going to die, but I think it's the best thing to do if I was in that situation. So while going to release this bird, this is part I can tell you, there was a small tea stall run by a local Goan at Kavderam Fort. So while walking down, he said, "There's a kakon, Mare kakon." So kakon is what the locals call only the white-bellied seagull. So I was surprised that he knew. He said, "Go release or do whatever you're doing and come back and talk to me." So we went back and we had a cup of tea with him, and I asked him, like, how do you know it was a kakon? He said, "Baba, I'm a local fisherman." Again, it comes to cultural knowledge and the tribals how they are. He said, "I'm a local fisherman, I know this is a kakon, this is a white-bellied seagull, and I've raised two of them in the past when they had fallen into the sea and they were drowning." I said, "It's wonderful." And I told him that if you see this bird grounded in the next 2-3 days, give me a call. The best thing you can do is, since you're here and I'm way back in the north, I said, just feed it fish and then keep the bills for me and I will pay for it. And he's saying, "Baba, you're a Goan and you're telling me keep bills, I'll feed the fish. I'm a fisherman, I'm a local fisherman." So for the next 2 months, the bird kept getting grounded after every 3-4 days and he kept feeding it fish. Eventually, after 2.5 months, it stopped getting grounded, it was strong enough to fly. Now in this case, this worked. Why? Because there was the right intention. So the right intention is always very important, and we need to learn to look through the animal's perception, through the eyes of the animal, to learn to conserve and live with them. So looking through their perception and perspective is very, very important. Anyway, thank you very much. I was just in a rush trying to hurry up, but I hope I put some message across.
You did more than that, Ben. What a session. The way you held the bird, the care, the warmth could translate. Thank you for the work you do. Joy, I have something to say to you.
Is your life tough?
My life is blessed.
You feel blessed. But if these people want to reach out to you, Benil, how do they do that? On Instagram or they?
Check. So if you want to reach out to me, it's on Instagram. Just type Ben Hale Anta. There are not too many Ben Hales, I guess. So Ben Hale is my name. But if there's a rescue, if you need to rescue something, the first thing you should call is the Forest Department. They have a helpline number now, which is 1926. But if you need any advice on how to live with it, which is what I preach, I like to live with animals rather than getting them relocated. Call me any time of the day or night. Not to put you all to sleep, but just call me if you need help and I'll answer.
Thank you, Benil, for all the incredible work that you do. Everybody, let's hear a big, warm round of applause for Benil Anta.
Warm round of applause.
And for Louise as well. She's not here tonight, I think so, but yeah, she deserves a special shout out as well. That's his wife. You must have seen both of them and their team in that very popular series, SOS Save Our Snakes. What do we have coming up next, Jessica?
Well, we've got something very exciting.